Hi, and welcome to Crafts with Ash. My name is Ashley, and today I am so excited to be bringing you this video. I am participating in a Try It Tuesday challenge hosted by Unicorn Dust Designs on YouTube and co-hosted by the Red-Headed Scrapper. The challenge is that you need to find 3 different DIYs from other YouTubers and then recreate them yourselves. Now, I will be giving credit to each one of these YouTubers, and definitely check the description box for the links down below. I hope you enjoy the little spin that I put on each of these projects inspired by these YouTubers. I am so excited to get started, but first, if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and then click that little notification bell so you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. Then hop on over to Facebook and Instagram and give me a like and follow there. I would love for you to join my crafting community. Alright, let's get started. So for my first DIY, I'm going to be using an inspiration from Unicorn Dust Designs. I absolutely love her. She is hilarious. If you have not done so already, you need to check her out, and she is so talented. But she made this really cute sign, and you are not going to believe what she used. So to start off with, I am using this little picture from the Dollar Tree, and this is a framed photo, so I just popped the back out. And then I was going to attempt to get the paper off the front, but I decided it was too hard. So I flipped it over and I just kind of used my little tool there to get the hanger off. And then I sanded it down so it was smooth. After that, I gave this one really good coat of ivory chalk paint. After that was dry, I took this bath mat, which is what she used in her DIY, and I thought it was genius. And wait till you see the dimension and texture this adds. But I went ahead and put it on my little board and then just cut it down to the right size that I needed so it would fit back in the frame. Then I went ahead and hot glued it down and then trimmed up any of the edges. After the bath mat was all glued down and trimmed up, I took my ivory chalk paint and gave it one good coat. Once my paint was dry, I took this Waverly Antique Wax and my favorite distressing brush, and I dipped the distressing brush in the lid and then dry brushed over the bath mat. Now I made sure to definitely hit the bubbles on the bath mat, and look at that texture. It is so cool. That's why I thought that this was such a great idea, and when I saw it, I knew I had to try it. This is just amazing, and who knew it's just a bath mat from the Dollar Tree. Once that was dry, I took my sanding sponge and lightly sanded over it to give it a more rustic look, and so my Waverly Antique Wax blended in with the paint. Then I went ahead and took my little bath mat board and stuck it right back into the frame. Next, I took this little picture that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I loved this when I saw it, and that's why I had to buy it, because that piece actually pops out, and it's kind of heavy. It's kind of almost like a coaster. It's like a tile, but I thought it matched perfectly with the frame. I didn't even do anything to the outside of the frame, but I did want to go ahead and distress this little sign just a little bit so it matched the rustic vibes of this bath mat. So after I did that, I just hot glued it on with a generous amount of hot glue, because like I said, it is kind of heavy, and I loved how this turned out. It is beautiful, it is rustic, it is just totally my style, and thank you to Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs for giving me the inspiration. What do you think? For this next DIY, it was inspired by the YouTuber Hot Humble Pie. Her name is Holly, and she is the absolute sweetest. I love hearing her speak, and she is really creative. She comes up with some amazing ideas. She made this really amazing birdhouse, but the really cool thing about it was that she used spackling to add that wood look texture. So I decided that I wanted to try it too. So of course, the first thing I'm going to need is a birdhouse, and I picked this one up at the Dollar Tree. Now these are kind of small, but it was fine because it was easy to work with. And then I took this spackling that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I took a craft stick and just rubbed it just like Holly did. But the main thing you want to do is you don't want to smooth it out. You want to make sure that you keep the ridges and the edges there. When she describes things, she describes it so perfectly, and I don't know how to explain this. That's why I'm going to have all these original videos linked in the description box below, so that way you can go and check it out. But basically, you're just going to rub all the spackling on, and you're not going to smooth it out. You want to make sure it's bumpy. That way it creates the natural wood look. So while doing this, I did discover that it is easier to put a thick amount of spackling on your birdhouse, and then it's easier to rub on. Now, I don't know if all spackling's like this, but look at it crumbling up. I don't really work with this often, so I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be like. It seemed like in Holly's video, it was a little bit more creamier, so I don't know if mine's just dried up. Let me know in the comments if that's what it's supposed to look like. Honestly, I really don't work with this a lot, so I don't know. But the end result, it turned out fine, but I just wasn't sure. I was kind of questioning it as I was going if this is the texture that I was supposed to be getting. But as you can see, it is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and like I said, it turned out great at the end. After I let the spackling dry, I took the ivory chalk paint from Waverly, and I gave the whole birdhouse one good coat of that. When painting this, I did make sure to get all of the edges of the birdhouse and then also the base of the birdhouse. I didn't put any spackling down there, but I definitely wanted this to be all coated in the ivory paint. Once the paint was dry, I took my favorite distressing brush again and that Waverly Antique Wax and rubbed over my birdhouse. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that you rub in the same direction that you put the spackling on. That way it brings out the natural texture. I absolutely love this. I thought that this completed it, and it looks so cool. Now Holly, she used a little darker colors. I believe she used gray, but I have learned that I am just an antique Waverly wax girl. I just love the brown and the ivory together, especially because I'm just like I'm more of a rustic person and not so much a farmhouse, but I think both look so cool and they turned out so amazing. I am really happy with how this looks. Now when I finished, I noticed that off to the side there's just like that big blotchy spot. So to fix that, I took my ivory chalk paint again and just painted over it. And then I let it dry and then did the same thing and just put my Waverly Antique wax over that again. And that way it kind of helped to smooth that out a little bit, because you could really tell that it looked like a little mess up. So, but it was an easy fix and it looked great. I did also paint those two little sticks there sticking out with the antique wax as well. That way it was a little darker than the rest of the birdhouse. I also painted around the two holes just like Holly did to emphasize those. That way they were a little darker as well. Next, to add a little bit of character, I added some green moss down at the bottom of my birdhouse. Now on Holly's birdhouse, she had a little sign that said Easter, and she made it out of a craft stick. So of course I wanted to do the same thing. So I just took a craft stick and I measured it to the top of the birdhouse where the roof is, and I cut it down, but I didn't cut it perfectly. I made sure to kind of be a little curvy when I cut it, and then I sanded the edges to make sure they weren't sharp. And next I painted the craft stick with ivory chalk paint, and then distressed it with that Waverly Antique wax. Then by using my black paint marker, I wrote the word welcome. Now it did bug me that the E at the end of the word was a little further away from the edge, like it wasn't in the center. So I did cut it down, sand it down, paint it, distress it. That way it was a little bit more proportional. Then after my paint marker was dry, I went ahead and sanded the letters down so that way it wasn't so bold and dark. Finally, I hot glued the little sign at an angle at the top of the birdhouse. Like I said, I absolutely love how this came out. It was so cute. I want to thank Holly at Hot Humble Pie for the amazing inspiration. What do you think? This next DIY comes from Monarch Mom DIY on YouTube, and she was one of the first YouTubers I ever watched do a craft, and I just fell in love with her style, and she also is very creative and very talented. But when she made this spring sign, I fell in love with it, and I knew that I had to make it. Now, I added my own twist on it because I did my own pastel colors to match the rest of my decor in my house, and I think it came out pretty cute. So to start off, I took these styrofoam eggs that I got from the Dollar Tree, and yes, one does not look like the others. That's because I was one short and had to pull it off of a previous DIY. But basically, I used the same colors that the eggs were. I just used a more pastel version. So on each of these, you're going to see me paint them the same colors, but they're just a lighter tone. So for the pink one, I used my Ballet Slipper Waverly chalk paint, and then for the others, I'm also using a mix of chalk paint or some kind of acrylic paint. I apologize right now, I do not remember all of the names. But basically, this is what I did on all of the styrofoam eggs. What was really cool about using these glitter eggs is that although I am painting over them, you can still see the little glittery texture underneath, so it just added a little bit more dimension. Now to make my pastel orange color, I went ahead and took the orange acrylic paint that I already had and then mixed it with some Waverly chalk paint in white, and that really made a lighter orange. Then I went ahead and painted that on another egg. So as you sit here watching me paint all these eggs, I just want to take this time to welcome everyone to my channel. If you are new here, I hope that you do consider subscribing because I absolutely love making DIYs and all things home decor. And I'm also going to get into some party ideas. That's actually what I do for a living. So I just thought that if you love all of that stuff, then you will definitely want to subscribe. If you are already a subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you. My page has gained so many new subscribers in the last 2 weeks, and it would not be if not for you. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate all of your support. Also, don't forget to like me on Facebook and Instagram. I would love for you to join my crafting community. Also, if you love what you see here, don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. It really helps to make my channel grow. Now for this yellow egg, yes, you can still see the orange polka dots coming through, but that's okay. I thought it added some fun vibes to my little sign, so I just let it go. After all my eggs were painted, I went ahead and put those to the side to let them dry. Then I took 8 tumbling tower blocks, but you're actually going to want to get 10 because I realized I was a little short. So I put them into groups of 2, and then I hot glued them end to end to make a base for the sign. Next, I gave the whole base, except for the bottom, a coat of Waverly Ivory chalk paint. After that was painted, I set that aside to let that dry. Then I went ahead and took my eggs again, and I wanted to give them a speckled look. So I took some ivory chalk paint and this fan brush, and I just, by using my thumb, flicked some paint specks all over my eggs. Now, this was messy, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it created such a little cute feature to the eggs that I didn't really care. It was easy to clean up too, but I just loved how these came out. I thought they were cute and added some character. Then about halfway through, I realized that I could just take my fan brush and just gently tap on each one of the eggs, and it still gave me the same effect. Next, by using these black letter stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree, I spelled out the word spring. I put one letter on each egg. Now you do want to line up your eggs to make sure that all of your letters are even, and I swear I did this, and in the end result, they are not perfect, but that's kind of what you want to go for. Then, to protect the letter stickers, I coated each one of my eggs with Mod Podge. Next, I took my base and my eggs and I lined them up. That way I made sure that it was proportional. Now there is when you can see that I added 2 more blocks to the end to make it a little longer. After I had them all lined up how I needed them to go, I started in the middle and hot glued each one of the eggs down. To complete this sign, I took that green moss again and covered my base. And then once all my moss was all glued down, I went ahead and gave it a little haircut and trimmed up any of the moss that was hanging over any of the edges. I think this came out so cute. They actually, from this angle, look like colored Easter eggs, like ones that you would dye. So I thought that this was perfect. And actually, over on Monarch Mom's page, she said that if she had enough letters, she would put Easter on the other side, which I actually might go back and do. That way, it's a reversible sign. I think that's a great idea. So you let me know what you think about this sign. Like I said, this is just so cute and colorful. And this is perfect to fit in with my pastel home decor that I already had made. So I want to thank you so much to Monarch Mom DIY. If you have not checked her out already, please do so. Like I said, all of the links will be in the description box below, so make sure to check it out. So what do you think? For my last DIY, I got my inspiration from Jessica Lynn at Home. I love her style. In fact, she just bought an old farmhouse and she is renovating it, and I have loved following her journey. So definitely check her out. But when she made this little bunny stand and put a cloche on it, I knew that I wanted to try it. So to begin, I started off with 3 of these little paint your own bunnies that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I took them out of their packages, and then by using a tool, I just pulled the little metal ring out of each one of their little heads. Then I gave each one a good coat of ivory chalk paint. After my bunnies were painted, I took this glass candle holder, also from the Dollar Tree, and I gave this 2 good coats of the ivory chalk paint. Now, my paint was like very thick, and I think it's because I let my foam brush just sit in my paint and it absorbed a bunch of it. So, note to self, don't stick the foam brush directly into the paint and let it sit there for a while. But you can see that it's going to be a little bumpy, but oh well, I guess it just adds to the rustic effect. And to continue adding to the rustic effect, of course, I took my Waverly Antique Wax and my favorite distressing brush and just lightly brushed over the bunnies and the little plate after they were dry. Next, I took my little bunnies and I positioned them so that I knew where the plate needed to go once I put the glue on top. And the glue that I actually used was the adhesive super glue that I got from the Dollar Tree. And then I also added some hot glue. So I did the super glue for the permanent hold and the hot glue for the instant hold. But you want to make sure for both glues to put a generous amount. Then once you put your plate on, you want to push it down for several seconds or minutes. Next, it was time to decorate the top, so I just took this floral moss and I kind of shaped it with my hands into a shape of a nest, bird's nest. But you can see that I have a lot there, so I actually cut it in half or broke it in half. And then I just did the same thing, and just by using my hands, I kind of squished it and formed it into a nest. Then I took a pack of speckled eggs that I got from the Dollar Tree and positioned them right on top so it looked like a bunch of eggs were sitting in the nest. Now for the cloche part, I'm actually going to be using this glass vase that I got from the Dollar Tree. So after I had the eggs how I liked them, I went ahead and put the glass vase right on top upside down. Then to create the little topper, I just took a big wooden bead and I painted it with ivory chalk paint, and then I distressed it with the Waverly Antique Wax and hot glued it on the top. Then to complete this DIY, I took some raffia. Actually, it was the same raffia that came off of that little carton of eggs that I had just opened, and I wrapped it around the bead on top and tied it in a bow. I think this came out so adorable. I did add a little rustic touch to mine, which Jessica didn't do, but that's the beauty of DIYing, is that you do it yourself so that you get to add your own styles and make it how you like it. I love everything she has to offer, and you should definitely check out her channel. She's been around for a while, so she has a ton of great ideas. I want to thank Jessica at Jessica Lynn at Home on YouTube for giving me this great idea and inspired me to make this project. What do you think? I think each of these DIYs today came out so cute. And again, I want to thank Unicorn Dust Designs, Hot Humble Pie, Monarch Mom DIY, and Jessica Lynn at Home for giving me these wonderful ideas and inspiring me to try it myself for this Try It Tuesday. Like I stated many times before, I will have the original videos linked in the description box below. So if you have not checked out any of these channels, I highly suggest you do so because as you can see, they are great. You're going to have to let me know down in the comments which one of these DIYs was your absolute favorite. And I want to give another big thank you to Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs and the Red-Headed Scrapper for hosting and co-hosting this challenge. It was a lot of fun and I'm so glad that I participated. If you haven't done so already, I'm going to remind you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel, then hit that little notification bell so you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. Also, if you loved what you saw, don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. Alright, well until I see you again, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!